Good day, everyone. My name is Richard I. Discutido, together with my group members, and we are tasked to report to all of you our topic, the Declaration of Philippine Independence. So sit back, relax, and together we will dive into the history of the Philippines. Before we start our discussion, here is a quote as a start up to all of you by Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. In this part, here is the list of the content of our report, and also it will serve as our guide for us to accomplish those certain topics being placed or put in our report. First on the list is the introduction. It is just a brief refreshment to all of you about our report. Second, the brief history, just a quick recap about all the happenings and events before the declaration of Philippine independence. Third are the biographies of those prominent persons being mentioned and present during the declaration, and they are the people who had great impacts in winning or claiming the liberty or freedom of our country. Second to the last is a summary of our report about the Declaration of Philippine Independence. The last part of our report is the answering of analysis questions. Thank you.
During the Spanish-American War, Filipino rebels led by Emilio Aguinaldo proclaimed the independence of the Philippines after 300 years of Spanish rule. By mid-August, Filipino rebels and U.S. troops had ousted the Spanish, but Aguinaldo's hopes for independence were dashed when the United States formally annexed the Philippines as part of its peace treaty with Spain. The Philippines Islands became a Spanish colony during the 16th century. They were ceded to the U.S. in 1898 following the Spanish-American War. In 1935, the Philippines became a self-governing commonwealth. Manuel Quezon was elected president and was tasked with preparing the country for independence after a 10-year transition. In 1942, the islands fell under Japanese occupation during World War II, and U.S. forces and Filipinos fought together during 1944 to 1945 to regain control. On the 4th of July 1946, the Republic of the Philippines attained its independence. In April 1898, the Spanish-American War broke out over Spain's brutal suppression of a rebellion in Cuba. The first in a series of decisive U.S. victories occurred on May 1, 1898, when the U.S. Asiatic Squadron under Commodore George Dewey annihilated the Spanish Pacific Fleet at the Battle of Manila Bay in the Philippines. From his exile, Aguinaldo made arrangements with U.S. authorities to return to the Philippines and assist the United States in the war against Spain. He landed on May 19, rallied his revolutionaries, and began liberating towns south of Manila. On June 12, he proclaimed Philippine independence and established provincial government, of which he subsequently became head. His rebels, meanwhile, had encircled the Spanish in Manila and, with the support of Dewey's squadron in Manila Bay, would surely have conquered the Spanish. Dewey, however, was waiting for U.S. ground troops, which began landing on July and took over the Filipino positions surrounding Manila. On August 8, the Spanish commander informed the United States that he would surrender the city under two conditions. The United States was to make the advance into the capital look like a battle, and under no conditions were the Filipinos rebels to be allowed in the city. On August 13, the mock Battle of Manila was staged, and the Americans kept their promise to keep the Filipinos out after the city passed into their hands.
Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista. Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista e Altamira was born on December 7, 1830, at Binyan, La Laguna. He is the Captaincy General of the Philippines. He died on December 4, 1903, at the age of 72. The cause of his death is accidental fall from a horse-drawn vehicle. He graduated from University of Santo Tomas and his occupation is as a lawyer, and he is known for author of the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Emilio Aguinaldo. Emilio Aguinaldo Ifami was born on March 22, 1869, at Cavite El Viejo, Cavite. He is a Captaincy General of the Philippines, Spanish Empire. He died on February 6, 1964, at the age of 94 at Quezon City, Rizal, Philippines. His resting place is at Emilio Aguinaldo Shrine, Kawit, Cavite, Philippines. He graduated from Colegio de San Juan de Letran with the profession of statesman and military leader. His awards are Philippine Legion of Honor, Quezon Service Cross, Presidential Medal of Merit, and Order of the Knights of Rizal. Governor Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Miguel Lopez de Legazpi was born on circa 1502 at Zumaraga, Gipuzkoa, Crown of Castile. He died on August 20, 1572, with the age range of 69 to 70 at Intramuros, Manila. He is also a Captaincy General of the Philippines. His resting place wa- is at San Agustin Church, Manila. Ferdinand Magellan. Fernão de Magalhães was born on February 4, 1480, at Sabrosa, Kingdom of Portugal. He died on April 27, 1521, at the age of 41. He is a chiefdom of Mactan, and his nationality is a Portuguese, renounced in 1517. He is known for the Magellan Expedition, finding the Strait of Magellan, first European Pacific Ocean crossing. Don Pedro A. Paterno. Pedro Alejandro Paterno A. Rivera Ignacio was born on February 27, 1857, at Manila. He is also a Captaincy General of the Philippines, Spanish Empire. He died on April 26, 1911, at the age of 54 at Manila, Philippine Islands. His political party are Independent on 1898 to 1907 and Nacionalista on 1907 to 1911. His alma mater is Ateneo de Manila University, and his profession is as a poet and a novelist.
Chief Kalipulaco, also known as Lapu-Lapu. He is best known for the Battle of Mactan, which happened at dawn on April 27, 1521, where he and his warriors defeated the Spanish forces led by Portuguese conquistador Ferdinand Magellan. Modern Philippine society regards him as the first Filipino hero because of his resistance to imperial Spanish colonization. His act of heroism showed how the Filipinos were fearless in fighting against the foreigners who conquered the country.
Governor General Don Fernando Premo de Rivera. He was born on July 24, 1831 at Sevilla, Spain. Died on May 23, 1921 at the age of 89 in Madrid, Spain. He was the Spanish Governor General of the Philippines from 1880 to 1883.
Don Mariano Gomez, Dr. Don Jose Burgos, and Don Jacinto Zamora. They are the Filipino Catholic priests who were publicly executed in Manila. They are also known as the Gumburza. The Gumburza's death, in convincing many Filipinos that Spanish rule was an intolerable evil, sparked a movement that was to culminate in the expulsion of Spanish 24 years later. They fought for the rights of their fellow native priests against Spanish abuses. They were executed due to the false accusations of treason and sedition, taking a supposed active role in the Cavite Mutiny.
So, what happened in the independence ceremony? The most significant achievement of Emilio Aguinaldo's dictatorial government was the proclamation of the Philippine independence from Spain in Kawit, Cavite on July 12, 1898. The day was declared a national holiday. Thousands of people from provinces gathered in Kawit to witness this historic event. The ceremony was solemnly held at the balcony of General Emilio Aguinaldo's residence. The military and civil officials of the government were in attendance. The declaration included a list of grievances against the Spanish government stretching back to explorer Ferdinand Magellan's arrival in 1521. A dramatic feature of the ceremony was the formal unfurling of the Filipino flag amidst the cheers of the people. At the same time, the Philippine national anthem was played by the band. Ambrosio Rienzales Bautista solemnly read the act of the Declaration of Independence, which he himself wrote, with 98 persons signing the declaration. The Philippine national anthem, which embodies the struggles and the glory of the Filipino people in search of freedom from foreign denomination, was composed by Julian Felipe and played by the San Francisco de Malabon Band. The Spanish lyrics were written by Jose Palma a year later. The Philippine national flag has been made in Hong Kong by Marcela Agoncillo, assisted by Lorenza Agoncillo and Delfina Herbosa. It featured a blue band on top and a red band below, and a white triangle on the side. At the corners of the white triangle were sewed yellow stars symbolizing the three Philippine island groups of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. At the center of the triangle was a sun with eight rays, representing the first provinces that rose in arms against Spain. With the government in operation, Aguinaldo thought that it was necessary to declare the independence of the Philippines. He believed that such a move would inspire the people to fight more eagerly against the Spaniards and at the same time lead the foreign country to recognize the freedom of the Philippines. A few leaders in Aguinaldo's had been objected to the move. They based their objection on the fact that it was more important to reorganize the government in such a manner as to convince the foreign powers of the competence and stability of the new government than to proclaim Philippine independence at such an early period. Aguinaldo, however, stood his ground and won. So, how did the Philippines get real independence? Throughout the early 20th century, Filipinos took increasing amounts of control over governance of the country. In 1907, the Philippines convened its first elected assembly, and in 1916, the Jones Act promised the nation eventual independence. And in 1935, the Philippines was established as a self-governing commonwealth with Manuel Quezon as its first president. The nation was slated to become fully independent in 1945, but World War II interrupted that plan. Japan invaded the Philippines, leading to the death of over a million Filipinos. The U.S. under General Douglas MacArthur was driven out in 1942 but retook the island in 1945. The Declaration of Philippine Independence. The Declaration of Philippine Independence is one of the most important milestones in Philippine history. The country was colonized by many nations for hundreds of years. Imagine achieving your freedom after all the hardships you've been through. It is priceless. Philippine Independence Day has been celebrated every June since 1962. The original celebration used to be on July 4, but the President Diosdado Macapagal changed the date to June 12 in commemoration of Emilio Aguinaldo's declaration of independence from the Spaniards. In turn, July 4 was declared as Philippine Republic Day or American Filipino Friendship Day when a treaty was made declaring the freedom of the Philippines from the United States. The celebration of the Philippine independence is from May 28 to July 12, where all government establishments, residences, and other public squares are encouraged to display the flags. The country begins its celebration by displaying the national flag in various historical places nationwide. In Rizal Park or any national historical landmark, the President, Vice President, and other members of the government, together with the armed forces and the general public, sing the national anthem Lupang Hinirang while raising the national flag at 7 in the morning. It is followed by the wreath laying ceremony and the presidential speech. This practice has been observed since 2011. As we enjoy the holiday, may we not forget its significance in our country's history. Before our heroes achieved our independence, they offered their talents and wits and put their lives at risk. May we learn from them as citizens of the Philippines. So basically, um, the Declaration of Philippine Independence for me was a call sa aton nga mga ancestors noon nga present during this colonization of the Spaniards towards our country, the Philippines. So para sa akin, call siya kay tungod it serves as our eye-opener during that time nga dapat maging firm kita sa aton nga mga ginapatihan nga dapat hindi kita magpaasi-asi, nga hindi ta dapat magpa-control sa mga banyaga kay tungod may ara man kitaya sa aton or kinaaton nga bansa nga dapat kita lang ang mali sa aton kag hindi tiya need sang intervention sa iba na countries. And also, Declaration of Philippine Independence was a document written by Ambrosio Rienzales Bautista. For me, ginapakita ya diri sa amo ni nga document ang tanan nga struggles, happenings, events, hardships, kag tanan-tanan nga mga kabudlayan nga na-experience sa mga Filipinos sang una under or sa pamamahala sang Spaniards sa aton. So, sa amo to nga document, gisalaysay ito tanan kung ano man ang kalatabo halin sa pagsugod-sugod sa pag-abot ni Magellan diri sa aton, halin sa pag-discover sang kada provinces, sang kada cities nga ginakatuan nila to spread Christianity para mag maghiwat sang misa, para maghatag sang beliefs or magtanom sang idea sa utok sang kada tawo nga dapat kung anong aton nga ginapatihan nga may ara dapat Diyos, and also para mabal-an sang kada isa kag isa sa aton nga gina-brainwash ta sang mga Spaniards during that time. In addition, na-mention man sa Declaration of Philippine Independence ang natabo sa tatlo ka paring martir nga gipamatay kay tungod lang sa ginatawag nga power against, I mean, between church and the government. Dapat gusto nila i-acquire ang church kay tungod kabalo sila nga ang tawo mas gapati that time sa church kaysa sa government, kay mas taas para sila ang panulok nila sa church kaysa sa government. So magusto sila nga i-acquire nga dapat Spanish man or Spaniards man ang magalid sa mga churches for them to spread the word, or yes, the words nga amo ni amo to about sa Spaniards kung ano kanami sila mag-hold or kano sila kanami mag-govern sa mga tao, mag-manage sa mga tao, pero in fact or in the opposite, taman kalain kag taman ka brutal kay present nakatama ang violence, ang abuse, um, gina-rape ang mga babaye, ginaabuso ang mga tao, slavery, as in tanan-tanan nga type of violence present during that time. So, we can't deny the fact nga ang amo ni sa'ton ang Philippine independence, diri ta nga time dun nagkaroon sang lakas ng loob nga mag-stand sa aton nga mga tiil nga kayanan ta, and also para gamiton ta ang aton nga voice na para ihambal or ipahiwatig sa tanan man nga nga ang gapangita kita bulig as a nation. So also, to gather the attention of other nations for us to get some help from them. For example, sa Americans, gimbakal ta sang Americans sa ila for for big amount of money para lang makuha ta ang aton nga freedom nga ginapangayo ta kung diin nga uhaw na uhaw kita katama. And also, ginapakita sa amo ni nga part sa Declaration of Philippine Independence nga damo gid gali tawo, damo gid gali officials nga hindi gusto ang pamamalakad sang Spain sa aton as their colony, because we're just one of their colonies during that time. So we're just slaves para sa ila, ginasakit ta, ginapamatay and all. So, sang nagsulod ang ang Americans sa aton nga storya sa amo ning nga time, binakal ta nila, and also dira ta nga time dun na-witness ta gid ang aton nga freedom nga ginatawag. Pero at the same time, kalain lang kay tungod damo pa gid happenings after the colonization of Spaniards sa aton. Mayara pa Americans, mayara pa Japan. So we did not really claim or wala ta gid dun na daugan ang ginatawag nga freedom sang una, kaysa sa subong nga mas okay kita. Kag also, ang amo ni gali nga Declaration of Philippine Independence, gin-agrihan ni siya sang damo nga mga tawo nga ginagaswer gid sila nga miski kapalit man ang ilang nga buhay, miski kapalit man ang ila tugan nga talents, ang ilang nga kaalam, ginbuhos nila tanan para lang makuha ang amo ni naton nga freedom against sa colonization of Spaniards. So that's all, and I hope that you really understand ng about sa Declaration of Philippine Independence. And also sorry if we really did not explain well our topic. It's because the text or the original script of the Philippine independence was written in like Old English yata, and there are some words nga hindi maintindihan, tamaan kadalom, and at the same time may so many metaphors, figures of speech, just to describe the hardships of the Filipino people during that time. So I hope that we can further explain our point, our side, or even our opinion na lang para mas maintindihan nyo ang amon nga report. So, through answering the analysis questions. Thank you.
Analysis question number 1. What is the purpose of proclaiming the Philippine independence? Our answer is to proclaim the sovereignty and independence of the Philippines from the colonial rule of the Spanish Empire. With the government in operation, Aguinaldo thought that it was necessary to declare the independence of the Philippines. He believed that such a move would inspire the people to fight more eagerly against the Spaniards and at the same time lead the foreign countries to recognize the independence of the country.
The importance of the proclamation of the Philippine independence is to honor the sacrifices of our national heroes. The country's sovereignty is appreciated, instilling nationalism in the citizens, as well as celebrating the culture and tradition of its people.
What could have happened if the Philippines was not able to gain independence from foreign control? I believe we still be tied to our past knowing that we can't stand on our own, but I doubt that. The Philippines is a strong country. We can stand on our own. We just need more brave and courageous Filipinos and Filipinas to fend off the colonizers. Colonizers speak liberty and justice, but for whom? Slaughtering innocent lives. The Philippines can handle the problem. We just lack bravery and courage to control ourselves and claim for what's right. What is its significance for us today? If the significance of it today, knowing the Philippines could stand on its own, our country could go down as one of the fiercest country ever faces. Defending our nation on our own as pure Pinoy and Pinay, that could make a name and goes down the history as the country fought liberty and peace.
Number three question. So, what are the highlights of the proclamation? After 300 years of Spanish domination, Emilio Aguinaldo has declared the Philippine independence due to the Spaniards' enslavement of us Filipinos, as well as their declaration. They went smoothly in our country. When the US declared war on Spain, Emilio Aguinaldo decided to support his people in the fight against the Spanish Empire. The Philippines were soon freed from Spanish rule, and Aguinaldo proclaimed independence in our country.